Hi, this is Regina White Favors with Homeless Recovery Tips. And so the topic today is get somewhere and sit down. Now, if you remember your mother, your big mama, your nana, any one of that baby boomer generation, Gen X generations, you usually have heard this repeatedly in your childhood all the way to adolescence and then young adulthood. And what this basically suggests is that the parent or the caregiver is telling you that you're sort of too fidgety. You moving about but without any purpose. You are going from one thing to the next. You are also making the existing context, the situation, the environment very anxiety. I mean, you're giving the parent anxiety. Every time the parent tries to tell you to do something, you jump up and you do something else, right? And then you're supposed to, usually as kids, we were assigned to our rooms and we stayed in our rooms and we played with the toys and things like that. And then mom and dad would tell you to come out for family time or watch TV or something like that. And so it's almost like you are not where you are assigned, if you can understand that in terms of get somewhere and sit down. You are not where you are supposed to be. You are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And I usually say that about a lot of things in all of my videos. You can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And if you look at it from the childhood standpoint, the parents tells you, I told you to sit down on the couch, or I told you to go play in your room, or I told you to go play in the backyard. And then somehow the parent comes out and sees that you're not in the backyard, you're not in your room, and you're not on the couch. You're not where the parent told you to be. And so you decided to be wherever it is that you wanted to be without supervision, without authority. If you look at it from, say, a teenager standpoint, uh, you were supposed to come home right after school, come home, do the chores, take care of your siblings until I get home, and then when the parent gets home, the mom and dad gets home, you are assigned other things. What happens is there's always something in between you leaving the schoolhouse and getting home, and that is always some form of a distraction in a friendship that you have. The friend that you tell the friend you're supposed to go straight home, and the friend said, "Okay, we're going to get home. Don't worry, we're going to get home. I just want to go here right quick. Let's go to the penny store. Let's go to the candy store." And you do everything but what you're supposed to do. Going home, coming from the schoolhouse and going home should be a straight line. It shouldn't. There shouldn't be a lot of distractions and going in a mulberry bush and wanderings and things like that. Is the instruction that your parent gave you was to come straight home from from the schoolhouse. That's it, right? And again, what happens is you get distracted, you let someone pull you in a different direction, your curiosity pulls you in a different direction, and you do what you think is in your best interest. Instead of going straight home, you stop by the candy store, you stop by the basketball court, you stop by the park, you you kind of wander about, you do everything that you think is beneficial for you. If you look at it from an adult standpoint, you know you need to work. You know you need to keep a job, keep a place, pay bills, pay for yourself as an adult. You know these are things that you're supposed to do. What happens in this case, however, is that you, instead of uh, planning to get your own place after you get your job, you go and move in with a boyfriend, or you go and move in with a girlfriend. And then that has its own process, because now you are almost like in a hamster's wheel, because you're kind of going about. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, which required you to secure yourself financially, not go and lean on someone else financially. And so that lasts for however long it's going to last, until the person gets tired of you being there, and then you leave again and you find another place to move into, another woman to move in, another woman's house to move into, another man's house to move into, and you just repeat the cycle. And so the get somewhere and sit down resolution to that as an adult would be for you to get your own place. That's how you get somewhere and sit down, so that you are responsible for you. You are 100% responsible for yourself. You are not, no one is your parent when you are an adult. No one is required to parent you. You can have some times where you have a loss in life, and you're struggling to get back on your feet. You lost a job. There was a pandemic. Many people lost their jobs. There was a financial recession. Many people lost their jobs, and I'm one of those people who lost a job and became homeless as a result. And you can have those types of events, but the totality of your life should reflect you being an adult, in the sense that prior to that life setback incident, did you have your own place? And how many years did you have your own place? And then during that life incident where you had to, life setback incident where you may have had to move into shelters, be homeless, move in with family members, try to get a place and be unable to, or whatever. Okay, there's a span of time for that. But then after that, once you come out of that situation, did you have your own place? Okay, and that's how you have to measure it, the totality. You shouldn't be in your 50s and your 60s and only have had your own place for maybe 2 to 5 years out of your whole lifespan. That's not good. And I do believe on some level, being married and you two having your place together, you and your husband and wife having a place together, represents some represents adulthood. And now I wonder if it depends on how early you got with the person. If you just moved from your parents' house to your husband's house, or your parents' house to your wife's house, then you have never really had the opportunity to have your own place to yourself and be responsible for the rent, for the light, for the water, for the gas, for anything that is related to you having an apartment, rental insurance, etc. You don't know what that looks like. You know what it looks like from a possibly 50-50 standpoint, unless you were a person who held traditional values and you were the main provider of the family, and then your wife possibly took over the rest of the bills. Okay, that's different, because that still gives you some agency, that gives you some personal responsibility, and you are responsible for all the people in the house as well. So that would be the exception. But if you've never had your own place and you have jumped from relationship to relationship, moving in and out of other people's houses, but you never had your own place where you had to go in and decorate it, set it up for to live in, to plan from, to do all the things you need to do as an adult, that's telling. Because then if you, how would you now be able to take care of anybody else if you can't really take care of yourself? So if you look at it from childhood, you are you're not adhering to an authority figure, which is your parent, at the very basic level where you are supposed to adhere to an authority figure. With the teenager, you are you're getting distracted. There is a straight line to what you need to do, and you are doing everything but what you need to do. It's called, it would be called in the Bible, wilderness wandering. So there's a straight line from where you need to leave to go to, and you are wandering about without any purpose. And eventually you get to your house because you have no other choice but to get to your house. And that's the same thing with dreams. There's a straight line, really a straight line, if you do what you're supposed to do. It just has its trials and it just has its time period. It's not as quick as you think it should be. But your wilderness wanderings then would be doing drugs, becoming an alcoholic, sleeping with a lot of people, just all of the debasing things that keep you bound and distracted. And then when you are an adult, It's likely if you are having a problem with getting somewhere and sitting down, it's likely because you are not on a job. And it's likely also because you don't have your own place. And so when you are thinking about get somewhere and sit down, what your mother used to tell you, what your grandmother used to tell you, what your big mama, what your nana, your fathers used to tell you, they're basically telling you get somewhere and get rooted in something. Quit jumping from one thing to the next. If you're going after a dream, you still need to keep a job. You don't put all of your eggs in one basket and go after a dream when you can't take care of yourself financially, because no one is responsible for you. Once you become an adult and you leave the house, and even if you left before your time and you realize you shouldn't have left, that's on you. And so once you do that, no one is responsible for you. No one is responsible to sponsor you. And that's what people are looking at. They want you to sponsor them for the rest of their lives. Okay. Well, you're not a good bet. People probably would be willing to sponsor you if they can get a return on their investment, but you don't have a product that you could sell that they can invest in that they can then reap a reward for. And so get somewhere and sit down, get your own place, pay for your own place, keep a job, stay stable, financially stable, and then you can plan from that that position. All right, so this is homeless recovery tips. Get somewhere and sit down.